Black and White Knights, Brotherhood Gone Bad. Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. One castle, two sides. They are family. They are brothers. But something goes wrong, something that completely destroys their trust and loyalty towards one another. Listen to the epic conflict of two brothers who love and hate each other, who fight and make peace, who find a traitor and deal with him. The castle they live in has two sides, a black and a white one. Being raised on two different ends of the castle has shaped their perception of reality and opinion of it. Can these two brothers come to an agreement, or will they fight to the death? Come to a better understanding of the conflict between these two honorable but imperfect knights. Chapter 1. The Divided Castle. The Claro Castle is a beautiful, well, at least one side is. The other is quite the opposite. The place is divided, separated into two, yet both halves are connected. Everything looks peaceful, but something is about to go wrong. Terribly wrong. Radius and Extobor are friends. They are even more than that, actually. They are brothers. Born of the same mother and father, they grew up in this controversial castle. They are young men now. Radius is 23 and Extobor is 26. Their parents are divorced. It's sad but true. They grew up in different sides of the castle. Radius grew up in the white part, and Extobor in the black part. And that is what the castle looks like. It is like a mask or a chessboard or something. Half of the castle is painted with black. It has black walls, black curtains, gray trims on all sides, and dark brown wooden structures in it. The bricks are even a lot darker than the white stone used on the other side. Black Knight's armor pieces are set up in the hallways, and dark paintings ornament the walls. The dark half of the castle has kind of a gloomy feeling to it. Its spikes and curvy hooks make it look like a devil's castle. Well, half a devil's castle. Everybody notices it when they see it. The white side of the castle, on the other hand, looks more like a palace. Each corner is decorated with elegant statues and with either a little elf or fairy, a baby angel or large seraphim with curvy wings, or a sophisticated painting of a flowery landscape. Almost everything is white. The only things that aren't are the tiny edges of some sloppy job the painters did, a speck or two here and there that they missed. Other than that, it looks similar to a mirage, too good to be true. Radius and Extobor hate the fact that their parents got divorced. Radius lives with his father, who insists on tidiness and perfectionism in his white habitat. However, Extobor's mother covers up everything with curtains and blocks out the light. Neither adult is willing to talk to the other. They are stubborn and pig-headed. Their two sons, though, don't even know how it started. Their parents don't talk about it. They just never do. Sometimes, once a year in most cases, their parents come together for a forced family tradition that enables them to at least sit down and celebrate the new year by having dinner together. And although the brothers love each other and both their parents, the awkward atmosphere in the room becomes apparent when they notice the silence or the snobby remarks their parents make. One time, for instance, they were all sitting together at their father's dinner table. Food was being served by the castle servants, and there was plenty to go around. The two brothers and their parents were there with a few aunts and uncles. The conversation started out well, but it certainly didn't end that way. "I like the onion soup they served here tonight," their mother says. "Ah, thank you. That's because I have some of the best cooks in the country." It was quiet for a minute. "Are you saying that they are better than my cooks?" their mother asked. "No, it's not just that. I think they also enjoy cooking here more. That probably comes back in the delicious flavor they embellish in their dishes." "So what you're saying is that they feel more at home here?" "Well, it's kind of obvious, isn't it?" the dad said. "Dad," Radius interrupted, Let's just change the topic. Do we really have to discuss this? I know you're trying to help, son, but I am just saying what we are all thinking here, his father answered. Oh, and what is that? The mother sneered. That your side of the castle looks like a graveyard. It's a dark and dreary place. I cannot imagine the servants feeling at ease there, which is why my cooks are way better than yours. There, I said it. Are you serious? Their mom was extremely offended. If you are so sure about your cook's capacities, then why don't we have dinner at my place next week? I will show you what they can do in the kitchen, and then you will beg your servants to never cook their pathetic dishes again. Mom, Extabor said, you don't have to do this. You're on, the father said. I will see you next week. Of course, it didn't happen. They couldn't stand each other, so they looked for numerous ways to cancel the appointment. Anyway, the two brothers are feeling trapped between their parents, although they get along great with each other as brothers. They wish their parents would get along better, even if they don't end up being back together, which is something they have already given up dreaming about. Chapter 2. Brothers to the End. When Radius and Extabor were young, it was already clear that they had a different personality. Radius was a perfectionist. Everything had to be flawless in his opinion. Extabor sometimes called him an overachiever sometimes. He was too hard on himself when he failed. He worked hard, he was all about goals, and sometimes his mother wondered if he took life too seriously, something she accused her ex-husband of as well. Extabor usually had a more laid-back attitude towards life. He didn't want to be pressured by anyone, and his motto was just to have fun or quit doing it. He didn't consider achievement such an important aspect. He loved just being a little random or spontaneous, and he never liked it when his brother called him lazy. However, whenever he did, he would always shrug his shoulders and tell him that was the reason why they had servants. He hardly ever cleaned up, and was often a little late when he agreed to meet his brother somewhere. Imagine these two playing together. It had quite the interesting effects. One Saturday afternoon, for example, back when the two brothers were only 9 and 12 years old, they were playing in the castle's courtyard. We were knights, the 9-year-old Radius started saying. You were the Black Knight, and I was the White Knight. Sounds about right, Extabor added. I was going to free the country, and you were going to help me. Sure, Extabor said. Sometimes it annoyed Radius how agreeable his older brother was, as if he didn't care. This was important. They were going to save the country. Why couldn't he acknowledge that this was a matter of life and death? Radius dashed forward with his wooden toy sword and looked at his slouching brother waving his wooden sword in the air like a nonchalant hobo. Radius got a little frustrated, but he didn't want to show it. There were hordes of enemies, he continued. They were coming from all sides. Black roaring shades, giant skeletons, and green monsters. And how about a black and white cow? That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Extabor added. Are you crazy? Radius protested. Cows aren't dangerous. Besides, they look goofy. This is serious, Extabor. We were trapped by all these hostiles and had no place to go. Whatever you say, Extabor said laughingly. Come on, we have to defeat them, Radius said, as he tried his hardest to stab and slash the invisible enemies he was imagining. Extabor went along with it and said, Yeah, and when we were done killing them, we all went to town and had a big party. Radius looked at him with big eyes. No, that just sounds dumb, he said. Well, why is everything I say crazy or dumb, and whatever you say is right? Extabor asked. Because... Radius didn't know. Then he thought for a moment. Because it has to be a desperate situation, a life-or-death struggle, an obstacle so big that we are barely able to do it. Our determination will carry us through. That's how it has to be. You know, Radius, Extobor said, it's impressive how big your vocabulary is for your age, but I just don't see why everything has to be so grim. Can't we just enjoy ourselves? Radius couldn't take it anymore. They were going to free the country, and all his brother wanted to do was party. How did that make any sense? There was no way they could play together anymore, he thought, and so this particular make-believe drama turned into a real one. On another occasion, Extobor was sliding down the hill in his pajamas. He thought it was the coolest thing ever, but when Radius arrived, he hesitated. Come on, Extobor said. It's a lot of fun, I promise. I don't know, Radius said. I just don't like the yucky mud, and my pajamas will get dirty. Dad will kill me if he sees me. Too bad your dad is so uptight about things like that, Extobor said. Mom doesn't care. She even said she might join us later. Come on, I will show you it's done. Go ahead, I'll watch. Okay, suit yourself, Extobor said as he took off and slid down the hill, ending up in the filthy mud. Ha ha ha! That was awesome! Are you coming or not? No, I think I will go back to the castle now, Radius said. Fine, be boring. At least I am having fun, Extobor said. It has always been a dilemma, the one too serious, the other not serious enough. They both have their strengths and weaknesses, and that's okay, but soon it won't be. Their personalities will clash more than ever before. Chapter 3. Family Feud. The two parents tolerate each other, but they basically hate each other nonetheless. And even though it hasn't been the same way for their two sons, a deceitful servant doesn't like the peace. He wants more property and more freedom, more power as a servant, and more authority. A bigger castle would mean all those things. Meet Gareth, a slick servant who is planning to throw a spanner in the works. He contrives a plan to cause contention between the two brothers. His scheme involves theft and lies, and an object that seems less valuable than they make it appear. It's a lovely morning. Birds are singing, butterflies are fluttering, and the sun shows its smiling face yet again. The 23-year-old Radius gets up and stretches his arms and legs. He gazes round. His beautiful room is tidy and clean, just the way he likes it. But something is different. When he looks at the corner of his room, he sees a sword he hasn't seen before. It's new and it's shiny. It's also black. Hey, isn't that a sword from the other side of the castle? Radius walks towards it and picks it up. There's an inscription on it that reads, "To the bravest knight in the kingdom." Radius looks puzzled. Who would have given him such a gift? It makes no sense. So he takes the weapon to his father. Dad, he says, look at this sword. Is it yours? I don't know, he says. It doesn't look like it is mine. I will ask Extobor if it's his. Sure, I want nothing to do with those savages, but you can go ahead. No sooner said than done, Radius walks to the other side of the castle, the dark, gloomy side. He goes up the stairs and meets his brother, dragging the heavy blade to his room. Hey, Radius, what's up? Extobor asks. Just this sword, he says. Is it yours? It was in my bedroom. Extobor turns around and takes a long, hard look at the object. He rubs his chin. No, I've never seen it before, he says. Weird. Hey, what's that inscription over there? The bravest knight in the kingdom? What's going on? I don't know. Like I said, it was just there when I woke up. Their mother walks in. Radius, what are you doing here? She asks. Is this sword yours? Radius asks. His mother looks at the sword. No, she says. Somebody must have given it to you. Why does it say that you're the bravest knight in the kingdom? What about Extobor? Yes, what about me? Extobor asks. I'm sorry, it's implied, but I didn't write it. Sure you didn't, his mother says.
"It's probably a trick from that old goat I used to call husband. He is trying to show off with his son's heroic skills by exaggerating and handing out random gifts. I have had it with that man. Come on, Extabor, let's go talk to him."
Chapter 4. Separated. Radius isn't really happy with this sudden mood shift in his mother's and brother's brains, but he follows them anyway. With determination in her footsteps, his two family members cross the border of the two castle halves and barge into the white side, demanding to speak to Radius's father. Along the way, they bump into the sketchy servant Gareth, who quickly comments on the beautiful and fitting inscription on the sword, which angers the brother's mom even more.
"You mean old goat," their mother says. "You just needed to let everyone know how much better the son is you're raising than the one I have under my care, didn't you?"
"I don't know what you're talking about," Dad says. "But if you're suggesting that Radius is braver and more valiant, then what else is there to discuss? Everybody knows it's true. Extabor is a lazy bum."
"You take that back," Extabor says. "Come on, Dad. You know I work hard."
"Yes, but your brother has excelled in every field. You never took life seriously enough," the father responds. "You never amounted to anything, and I blame that mean old wench you call mother for it."
"Oh, you,"
the mother says. The heat of the moment has powerful effects. Both parents are boiling up inside. The two brothers haven't become particularly fond of each other by these contentious words either. They are standing face to face, looking at one another with spiteful gazes. Things are about to go terribly wrong. The fight is escalating, the amplitude of their voices has increased, yelling and more yelling, louder and louder.
"Your son is a dumb perfectionist,"
the mother yells, typically referring to Radius as someone else's son when she doesn't want to feel connected to him. The father does the same. "Your son couldn't even harm a fly. His precision and fighting skills are like those of an endermite, weak and feeble."
"Well, if you're so convinced, why won't you find out and let them fight?" the mother asks.
They both look at their two sons, Radius and Extabor, are not sure what to do, but their pride has taken the best of them too. Extabor looks down on the younger Radius and says,
"I don't think that would do anything. I know I would beat Radius in a heartbeat. I am older and bigger. How could he ever defeat me?"
At first, Radius is surprised by his brother's sudden arrogance, but then he feels some rage too. He can't stand all this nonsense, and he is confident about his abilities, so he takes the challenge. "Fine," Radius says. "Give me your best shot."
"I will," Extabor says. "Show me what you've got."
Without further hesitation, he storms at the younger brother and starts beating up on him. Radius deflects some of his attacks and avoids his fists, causing Extabor to punch the floor.
"Ouch!" Extabor cries. "That hurts!"
Radius starts kicking his younger brother as their parents watch and shout and cheer them on. The two brothers both have a set of abilities that enables them to make the fight last longer. None of them are victorious, but both get the inevitable injuries. After a few minutes, the servants, startled by the noise, walk in and ask what is going on. Both brothers look up and realize what they are doing. Radius lets go of his brother and gets up. Extabor groans and gets up too. A little embarrassed by their uncontrolled, impulsive behavior, they tug on their collars and try to appear dignified. "Is there something we can help with?" one of the servants asks. "We heard noise and thought any of you were in trouble." "Oh, that's all right," Radius says. "I was just about to leave." "Can we accompany you, sir?" "Yes, let's do that. Pack your things. We are moving out for a while. Come on, Dad. Let's get out of this wretched place."
"Fine," the mother says. Go! We don't need you here. We'll finally be by ourselves without your oh-so-glamorous white and gold decorations and your stuck-up attitude."
"Fine," the dad says as he turns around and walks away. "Any place will be better than in the same building with you." Some hateful looks are exchanged between the brothers and parents, but Radius's decision to move out for some reasons doesn't come as a surprise. It is as if one of them just had to take the initiative. With a handful of servants, Radius and his father leave the castle grounds. They look back one more time at what used to be their castle, holding a grudge against their other side of the family. It's sad to leave, but it feels necessary, Radius thinks. It was bound to happen. They arrive at the forest. A cozy little cottage is waiting for the group to be occupied. When they get there, it is freezing inside. Radius's father commands his servants to fetch some wood and prepares the fireplace for a warm fire. Other servants are getting the ingredients out of their bags for some hot soup. "Well, this is it," Radius says. "I am so angry at my brother right now. I cannot believe he thinks he is so good." "What is your plan?" his father demands to know. "Just to sit it out for at least a few days. We'll decide what to do after that." And that's what they do. None of them know what to do now. The fight has become too big. Feelings have been hurt. It has all blown up into something ugly. Chapter 5. Ethical Discussions. Radius and his father reside in the cottage for days. They are feeling angry and depressed. They are confused. The wind is blowing against the weak structure, making a howling sound and creating chilling shivers into each person's body who steps outside. The fireplace is warm and lit up 24/7, but the atmosphere is grim. Radius and his dad stare at each other. They have been silent for a while now, and they have been bottling up all their rage inside. Radius can't take it anymore. He is so frustrated that he gets up, walks towards the door, opens it, and slams it as hard as he can behind him. One of his servants runs after him.
"Sir Radius," the servant says, "it is freezing out here. Please return to the cottage."
"Oh yeah?" Radius asks. "It feels hot to me. Besides, this will give me the necessary exercise to get all that aggression out." He picks up an axe and starts chopping wood. The snow from the wood sticks onto his axe, making it slippery at times, but he doesn't care. He just wants to destroy something he won't regret later. As he keeps hitting the wood, he expresses some kind of war cry each time the axe falls down.
"Sir Radius," the servant says after watching him for several minutes, "I have an idea. Why don't we go inside and discuss what we will do with the situation? We all may have some valuable insights, but you and your dad can lead the discussion."
Radius looks at him. "That's actually not a bad idea," he admits. "Let's do it." He follows the bright servant and tells his father of the idea. Not much later, they do what they have planned. Approximately 10 servants are sitting around the table, as well as Radius and his father. "So what are we going to do about this?" the father asks.
"If I may propose an idea, sir," one of the servants says, "I think we should just go back and apologize."
"Apologize?" the dad asks. "That's outrageous. Didn't you see that Extabor started fighting? He started it. He drove us out." "I completely agree," Radius says.
"But perhaps it would be better just to keep the peace, sir."
"No," the dad insists. Another servant agrees.
"I am right behind you, sir. I saw the way they handled the conflict. We should just drive them out. This castle has been rightfully ours for the past decades, but they act as if they can take over and do whatever they want with it. Besides," another servant says, "their half looks awful and gloomy. Why not dominate the castle with our sense of style?"
Most of the servants seem to agree with each other. Radius is quietly listening to the responses of the surrounding helps. After a while, he stands up. Everybody is silent, ready to finally listen to what he has to say. "We will get them," Radius says. "We will show them how it should be, and we will crush their arrogance with our swords, beginning with this one." He holds the gifted sword in the air and slams it on the table. "Are you with me or not?" Most of the servants cheer courageously. Some of them already leave the table and gather weapons and armor. The plan to storm in and take what is theirs pleases them, especially after having been in the cold cottage for days. Chapter 7. Agreements. After the mess is cleaned up, the parents decide to have dinner again, just the four of them and nobody else. Okay, a few servants who provide dinner. Okay, all the servants, just to make it a bigger feast. Waiting at the dinner table, they watch various hard-working men bring in turkey, bowls of fruit, potatoes, rice, bread, and a bunch of delicious desserts. It looks wonderful, and it makes them smile. Radius and Extobor are sitting next to each other. They don't want to sit across from each other anymore. They are tired of all the little symbolic gestures that separate them. But one of the best things is that it forces their parents a little to sit next to each other again. "Sorry about the mess we caused," Radius says. "I love you, Mother. I just had a hard time getting over myself."
"Oh, it's okay," his mother says. "I know you practice a lot and you're proud of your achievements. You certainly deserve some credit, so don't be too hard on yourself."
"I am really enjoying this meal," Extobor says.
"And now that I think of it, having a common enemy helps to create a union."
His father laughs. "Has the order been carried out yet?"
"Yes," Extobor answers. "Gareth is being taken out of the country. I heard from my best servants that he complained in jail all night and said he would come back to haunt us."
The four of them laugh in chorus. They don't believe such a dumb guy will ever have the power to harm them.
"So, what are we going to do about the castle?" Extobor asks.
"I don't know," Radius says. "Maybe we should just live on opposite sides, just to feel what it's like to be in the other person's shoes. My dad and I can go live on the dark side, and you and your mom in these white chambers. This way we can both get used to each other's taste in interiors, and slowly start liking each other more." Extobor agrees. That's a good idea. "Or," their father says with a smile, "we could move into one bedroom. That would work too, wouldn't it?" Radius and Extobor look at their mom and dad. Both of them are smiling. Hey, are they holding hands underneath the table? That's a first.
Of course," Extobor says. "What do you suggest?" "How about I move into the white side of the castle with your father, and you two can have the black side. Does that sound okay to you?"
A sense of relief comes over the two brothers. Half a castle just for the two of them? Sounds awesome. Besides, they haven't seen their parents like this for years. Only time will tell what will happen to their parents' relationship, but for now, they are happy to see some sign of affection. "Yes, of course," the two brothers agree. "Thanks, Mom." The end. This has been Black and White Nights, Brotherhood Gone Bad, adventure stories for kids. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.